start as a team. Then there's an issue of conflict management in leading teams, where all of a sudden now he's raising that he's my cousin. He's no longer speaking like I'm his boss. Now how do we mitigate that conflict when it comes to leading the team and still wanting to keep the person, but without losing the respect in the team?
Look, conflict is part of the process. In fact, as a leader, you have a responsibility to create an environment that manages that tension. Because growth happens when there's a bit of tension and not when things are just running smooth. So you just have to accept that you're going to need to manage tension. There will always be difference of opinions. There will always be stakes that are high. And also at the same time, you're going to find that there will be emotions. So if you manage those three, an appreciation of the emotional nature of conflict, the fact that there will be a difference of opinion and the risks are high, and you are able to navigate that, it becomes quite easy. Because in the end, as I said, you come into a team or select a team because you have a common purpose to win and winning together. That's why then you have a responsibility as a leader to be the glue that brings that team together. But of course, if you get to a point where you have to find a substitute for a team leader, you do get a substitute. But as a leader, you always have to be humane as to manage somebody out of the team, or when you transition people in the team, without them losing their dignity. They might not at that point in time be the right person that is supposed to be in the team or leading.
I think just to add, it's important you define your business values and the culture. So, for example, if one of your values is honesty, you can use that to hold people accountable. You can use that to give constructive feedback. For example, if one of the employees fails you, or he was dishonest with you, you can come back and say, one of our values is honesty, and you were dishonest, because then you're removing yourself from the conversation. I think the big thing is, because this is your vision, you are attached to the vision, you end up being emotional, but use your values and the culture to manage conflict or to give constructive feedback. Don't take values and culture for granted. If your culture is high performance culture, always have conversation based on your culture and values.
I think those are excellent points, because we have to build a culture and value system. We saw in just in passing a sad story of a young man who was fired from work during the COVID incident because he stole some valuables from Woolworths, and he was fired at work because the business found him guilty of contravening the values of the business. Even though he didn't act in the business, he did it outside, but they were like, you're not reflecting us as should be. And maybe to bring it back to literature, and Dr. Egbert, probably directly here. Today we're sitting with youngsters in the room who are looking to build their own teams, because we're told that you don't own a business if there's only you in your business. You are just a sole proprietor. But when it comes to, there's 5 of us, as we've mentioned, what would you say are the things that we should be investing ourselves in to help us prepare to lead a team?
Thank you, Melody. You're quite right to say, we're talking to youngsters. Most importantly for me, the lessons I've learned probably was your age coming up, 18, entering university and all, was that have fun. Life is a journey. Right? Have fun. Don't take, you are young, learn fast, fail fast, but always fall forward. Right? Don't take yourselves overly too serious when you start creating a first venture. Have fun, experience. It always comes, like my esteemed colleague said, have principles. What are your values and what are your principles? Right? And you will self-select people who identify with your vision. You will self-select with people who are committed to pushing and driving what you share. And research over and over tells us, even my experience tells me, all the people who are my business partners, I met them in areas where we have commonality. I said I'm building a center for the Vet University, for center entrepreneurship. All the people I am working with there are my former students. I do not have anyone from outside. I have to self-select people who understand what I'm talking about, the vision which I'm building. And the university gives me the power to do that. Why? Because they know I'm very effective in achieving the goals I've set. But these are goals I set. You have to set what is it that you want to achieve. And naturally, never confuse effort with the results. We tend to account, no, I spend the night working here, I spend the day doing this. It's irrelevant if there are no outcomes. Results, you are building a venture, you're building a business. Focus on the result. Building a communal team which is focused on results is more important than dealing with emotions, as my colleague said.
I think I really like that point. I think you can please give me a round of applause for that sentiment. And especially because if you missed it, I'll give you an example. If you missed it, it's basically saying that 5 o'clock is 5 o'clock, me, I'm going home. But the job is not done. And many people are guilty of this in corporate because it's highly, you know, and the job is not done. And it maybe now speaks to the element of effort. I mean, how do we truly measure effort in our teams? As entrepreneurs, how can we teach time values? How can we teach about the discipline of responses, as you mentioned, Doc? Because a lot of us say, if my project is not approved, that means I'm bad. How do we teach young people to understand rejection in the workplace?
So one thing that my dad used to say was, you owe everything to yourself. You need to have your own personal scorecard. What do you want for yourself? They are giving you a space to be a designer, but what do you want for yourself? Because we come back, we want to hold companies accountable that we are not growing. But do you have a plan for yourself? Because the company will never teach you how to behave. But they can share the skill, they can give you the resources to grow yourself. So when you join every company, have a plan for yourself, define your personal scorecard, because they do have their own company scorecard. They do have their own KPIs. But what is your KPI? What is your personal KPI? And then after you sign the contract, align that with your personal scorecard. And it's your responsibility to understand what the business is building. Because sometimes we want to just go, I don't have a laptop, I don't know who I'm reporting to. They will never come to you and tell you. You have to ask questions. You guys are smart. You are smart, you have tools, you have information, use it for your benefit. The businesses don't owe you everything, but you owe everything to yourself. It's your responsibility to build your own career, same as building the business. It's your responsibility to be vulnerable and connect with the right people, consult with the right people. I mean, when we knock doors as HR consultant, people will tell us that I only have 2 employees. It's a business. You don't have to bring us full time, but use us to define your standard operating procedures. So you owe everything to yourself.
I think it's that thing of don't go to work because you're getting paid. Go to work because you're great at what you do. You know, it's that thing whereby you need to go to work because nothing to him, nothing to him in any way. And maybe in the situation, coming back to you a bit, there's elements of the youth today saying we're unemployed. I'll take whatever job that's coming. And you find in your team you have a person like that, where you know Rumoto is here because of money, and not here because they're passionate. We look at the teaching system, the police officers in this country. Most people in those professions are there for money. How do we help people who are there for money to maybe grow passionate about what they do?
Remember, we are all motivated by different things. If money motivates you and you are able to achieve results because money motivates you, fantastic. if being poor or being unemployed drives you to move into a job environment so that you can move, it's a motivation now for you to stay. There has to be a dance between the leader and the people that they lead, understanding what are the passion points that connect with that particular person. So if it's money, give people money. Other people move into the space looking to build a career, making sure that they understand how the business world works, and they can sacrifice a little bit on the money because they are looking at those connections, how to build relationships, how to network, stakeholder management, understanding processes and systems. Talk to that passion point. I don't want to say that people should not go work for money. Work for money, but money is not an end. It's a means to an end. And get lots of money, because a lot of times our relationship with money is a broken relationship, because we say money is the source of all evil. It's a lie. If your value system is broken, then money will just expose that. But when you've got money and your stomach is full, you are able then to even extend a helping hand to your communities, to other people, because you are not greedy, because your stomach is full in that particular sense. So when you find people in the team that obviously are lazy, are just waiting for the paycheck, you're now talking about something totally different, which is about, are you able to manage performance? I remember once presenting in what is called the REMCO, a non-performing set of employees. And the REMCO chair said, Sichaba, you cannot come and tell us at the end of the year that these people did not perform. It means managers failed these people, did not tell them that they were not performing during the year. It means you have failed the business because you have carried underperforming people up until now. Unless the managers of these people are also classified as non-performers, these people are not going to be classified as that. So holding people accountable and making sure that they deliver and being very honest with them becomes quite key for me.
And it's always an issue when it comes to having to say that we have to let you go because you didn't perform, but why didn't you help me? Why didn't you communicate? And communicating is also a big thing. I learned a trick with my corporate days where whenever you discuss, send it on email as per discussion. So there's no trouble later. I don't know, but you didn't say that, George. No. As per discussion. Probably, Dr. As we bring light into, we have youngsters here. This whole row here is pupils who are still in high school. They're probably just like, what are these old people talking about? How do we simplify the importance of being a team player? Because some of them could be in the leadership in their schools. How do we simplify them understanding the importance of carrying your weight?
Thank you, Melanie. I'm glad you say from school. In school, that is exactly what we are taught. We are a community, isn't it? You're always in class. You're always in groups. You're always doing something with somebody else. You're in sports, even tennis, you have to play with somebody else. Everything we do in real life, you have to do it with somebody else. You have to do it, you're part and parcel of a community. So there is nothing unique in your ability to connect with others. Even you might not like the people you play soccer with, but once you get in a soccer field, you have to play the game with those 11 players who are on your side, right? You might not like me, but when we have a task, being a member of a team means there is a task and you have to achieve that task at all costs. That's what matters. Everything else, you don't have to like me. Even if you come to my workplace, you come to my business, half the people don't like me. But when we are working, we are as efficient as possible. We did not set a target so that we build friendship. No, we set a target so that we can achieve. You can have your friends, I can have my friends. But more importantly, if we were a self-selecting team, we will not have those contradictions. Because we've got common goals, we've got common interests, we've got common targets, and we share the same ethics. We've decided what is our morass, what is our level of connection. When you build a team on that basis, everything flows. Competition becomes very productive. You will fight, you will bloody nose on the dance floor. But when the fight is done, you still have a job to do and you get on. It doesn't mean that when I fight you, I want to kill you. Or no, we are simply trying to resolve a conflict. And in so doing, you always build stronger and better teams. Think of it even when you've got siblings. You might fight your siblings, but when you go to school and someone else tries to beat your sibling, you are the first one to jump in to defend your sibling because you've got that bond and that understanding. That's exactly how teams are built. And we are going in a demographic structure today which works exactly in the same manner. The world is all about building teams and belonging to a community which is productive, even at national level.
Yeah.
It's all about building which team do you belong to, and if your team is not efficient, there are only two options. You're either leading or you're victims. There is no in between.
Yeah.
Even for countries.
Yeah, and I think we have a big leadership problem in South Africa that we're trying to curb. But I think the biggest part of it, and I think in our parting thoughts here as we close, the emotions in leadership. I think if you can just touch, as you part with your final thoughts, the importance of controlling and understanding your emotions when leading a team.
So I think first of all, when you lead people, you lead personalities. And personalities are history. So you're leading someone that you don't know. What you know is their achievement, but you don't know this person. And when we go back to the iceberg model, you don't see what is hidden from this person. So hence I said, it's important to define your values. Because personality is history, guys. You don't know where I'm coming from. You don't know how I grew up. You don't know what I deal with every night. And I come to serve in your business and you want to hold me accountable. I'm gonna come on you with that anger. So for us to avoid that conflict, let's go back to the business values. Let's go back to school values. And to our young ones that are still in varsity, be ready to be criticized. Be ready to take feedback. Be ready for us to tell you that your qualifications don't matter to me. My experience will beat your qualifications. But when you are ready to take that feedback, you're ready to be criticized, then it's okay. Entrepreneurs, young ones, be ready. They spoke about rejection. Be ready for rejection. Be ready for people to undermine your intelligence because they understand their craft, because they're holding on to their competence. And you are holding on to the capital that you have from your father or from your brother. But these people, they will beat you with their craft, their competency, and their thinking. So put yourself in the position of thinking. Read as much as you can. We have tools, we have people that are knowledgeable. Spend time with them and read so that you are knowledgeable. Then you can go out there and compete with the market.
Thank you so much. Dr. Sharma, as we close, in all the brands and the experience you've accumulated over the years, what do you think we need to be doing more now to stand out in our own brands and teams?
Yeah, I think when he talks about teams, I've led and still lead marketing teams, creative teams. If you want to get gray hair quickly, work on a day-to-day with creatives because they are wired quite differently. I chair boards, and then you are on the other end of the spectrum also. Can I just go back to the emotional part, because I think for me, for my parting point, that's important. When I lost my mother in 2011, the best advice that I was given was to fully feel in the moment my emotions and let them express that God did not give you an emotion of sadness for it to be suppressed. The emotion of happiness to take you up, and it can go down to say through that spectrum, fully have that emotion, so that when you feel rejected, the sadness, the disappointment, the anger, their emotions, feel them, because if you don't, they'll build the toxicity that will hold you back and not allow you to go through. And when you have the joy, just remember that the sad night might be around the corner, because it's like the weather that keeps going. I think for me as a party in short, that's where I just want to go through there to say, we are human beings, we have been given these emotions for a reason. Don't just hold to one, but fully allow them to express.
As they say, life has seasons, and different seasons will have different experiences. You'll not always be at your peak, but there'll be a time where you have to be a student, there'll be a time where you have to be a teacher, and there's a time where you have to be someone who just observes and watch on the sidelines. I want to open one question to the floor before I close. If there is one, is there a question? There's a lady there. If I may borrow just one microphone, please. Please may you stand, say your name, you can start with business if you want. And your question, please.
Morning to the panel and the facilitator, Tado. Thank you very much. So there's a saying that says a team is only as strong as its weakest link. And I want to know, in the event when you were the weakest link, how did you mitigate that, and what advice would you give to entrepreneurs addressing a similar issue in their current ecosystem?
I think it's a combination of the weakest link and the strongest part of the team. Sometimes people just need a bit of time, a bit of guidance. Maybe there's, like normal thing of say you build your own talent, or you borrow talent, or you bounce talent, you move them to the right place, and you go and buy talent. So sometimes you find that weakest link, they might just be needing a bit more training, mentoring, or a bit of coaching. And obviously you want to make sure that they are in the right seat. If they are not, to move them to the correct seat, especially when the emotions and the value system and the behavior is aligned. They might just be placed in the wrong place. So sometimes it's about creating an environment that allows their genius to truly express and don't just keep them in one place.
Would you like to add to it?
I think for me is understanding why you are there. Before you can consult, if you want to consult with the right people, but you need to go back to self and understand why this feeling and why do I feel that I'm not part of the team, for example, because sometimes we quickly run to solutions without going back to the core of the problem. I think just find out why you're feeling like that. If you need coaching, I mean, these things now happen for free. We are here to save the world. We don't have to charge for everything. So just speak to the right people and remove that layer, because sometimes you resign from your previous company and you join a new company, and that layer is still there. And every time when you go through the same thing, trigger, and then you will think the problem is the system, and the problem is you never dealt with that layer.
Earlier on I said, don't confuse effort with result. Right? If you're in a team, you can have the best striker who scores a goal at every opportunity, and yet you have got the worst defense. That team will never win. That team will never win. So it does not matter to have an individual in a team who outshines everybody, and yet the rest are mediocre. So a team has to perform at optimum level at all the time to achieve the goal. So when you talk of the weakest link, which he mentions, he's not saying this is a link which will break the chain. He's saying you should be comfortable with the weakest you have in the team. If I am the weakest, I am very happy to be the weakest. It means everybody else is better than me. And if everyone's better than me, trust me, my team is doing great. That's how I build the team. And he's not saying, no, you're weak, then the chain will break. Otherwise, you'll not achieve. If or even to my children, I say, I don't expect you to do what I do. I expect you to start from where I end. Because you have had the opportunity of standing on my shoulders. So all the youngsters, I don't expect you to be like me. If you're like me, then I have failed as a parent, I failed as a leader. I expect you to start from where I cannot go. That's the future. If we cannot do that, then we have no future. We are simply repeating our history. I have to stand on where my parents, my generation stopped, where they could not do. I am doing what they could not even imagine. And I expect you, the next generation, to do what I can't imagine now.
Sure. Amazing. Please will you give my panel a round of applause. I want to thank my guests. The three of you have been phenomenal. Thank you for your time. Even though it's a bit short-lived at this moment, we can go so much deeper. But I think as we close the session, as a young person, I want to also take from what we get to experience day in, day in. There's so much negativity around us. You being positive changes the team. Just you alone, being the desired change, can have a big impact. As we sit here today as entrepreneurs, future business owners, remember, the pride is not owning the business, it's being in business. That's truly where the pride is. So for this session, thank you to my guests as we allow them to walk off the stage. Please give them a round of applause one more time. Oh, okay. Photo first, sorry, photo first. Photo first.